A very good morning, dear students. In this video, I am going to explain about the chapter some basic concepts of chemistry. So, in that first, we want to know about what is matter, because this chapter is completely based on the basics of chemistry. So, in which way we can use the chemistry, what is the importance of chemistry, and what are physical quantities, all such things we will come to know by this chapter. So, first we want to know the basic term of the chemistry, that is nothing but matter. So matter is nothing but anything which is present in the universe and has mass occupies some space. Anything in the universe which has mass and occupies some space is called matter. So this matter having important properties. The two important properties of matter is physical properties and chemical properties. So first we want to know what are physical properties of a matter. So these are the properties which can be observed or measured without changing the identity or the composition of a substance. If you take any substance, that substance is having some mass and occupies some space. So that's why that has to be considered as a matter. To that matter, if you observe or measured that without any change in the identity or composition, such properties are said to be physical properties. The properties which can be observed or measured without any change in the identity or composition of a substance, then that is said to be physical property. Example, color and odor. So color of a substance and odor of a substance can be easily identified or observed without any change in its physical state, then we can say it is as one of the physical property. Okay, example for this pen, even this pen is considered as a matter. So we can easily say what is the color of this pen, whether it is odor or odorless, without any change in its composition. So ಏನು compositionally change ಮಾಡ್ದಿರಾನೆ, if you find any property of a substance or a matter, then that property is considered as a physical property. Okay, now next, chemical property. The properties which can be observed or measured only on allowing the substance to undergo some change in their identity or composition. If any change or by any change or identity, if you observe any property of a substance, then that is said to be chemical property. That means here a substance is undergoing some change in their composition or some identity in their composition. So some change in the identity or some change in the composition, then such type of properties are said to be chemical properties. Example, acidity and basicity. These two can be easily measured or observed only when a substance undergoes some change, either in the identity or in the composition. That is called chemical property. Now we want to say about the basic physical quantities, what we can use in our daily life. Okay, some basic physical quantities. There are 7 basic physical quantities. Among the 7 basic physical quantities, the first one is mass, second one length, third one time, fourth temperature, fifth one electric current, and sixth one luminous intensity, finally amount of substance. So these are the 7 important physical quantities of a substance. So these are the 7 important physical quantities of the substance. They have some units. So if you see the units and their symbols for these physical quantities, for mass the unit is kilogram and the symbol is kg. For length, meter is the unit and m is the symbol. For time, second is the unit and s is the symbol. For temperature, Kelvin is the unit, K is the symbol. And for electric current, ampere is the unit, A is the symbol. For luminous intensity, candela is the unit, CD is the symbol. Amount of substance, mole is the unit, MOL is the symbol. So these physical quantities and their units are very important for 1 mark. Either they can ask you to write about this unit or you want to write about the symbol of a substance. Okay, so symbol of a physical quantity. This is very much important for 1 mark. So there are 7 physical quantities and their units and their symbols. Now our second term is mass of a substance. If you take a substance or any matter in the nature that has some mass and weight, but both are not same, they have a little difference between them. First we want to see what is meant by this mass. Mass of a substance or mass of a matter. It is nothing but the total amount of the matter present in that substance is considered as mass. Mass is defined as the total amount of the matter present in that substance. Total amount of the matter present in that substance is known as mass. Next, weight of a substance. So it is defined as the force excreted by the gravity on an object. For each and every object there will be some gravity force. So force excreted by the gravity on an object is known as weight. Force excreted by the gravity on an object is known as weight. So this weight can change from one place to another place, but mass is constant on all the places. It doesn't changes. Now SI unit of volume important for 1 mark, that is meter cube. SI unit of density kg per cubic meter, kg per cubic meter, or kg meter to the power of -3 is the SI unit of density. Now we want to see about another most important concept of the chapter, that is common scales to measure temperature. As I already told you that temperature is one of the physical quantity of a substance. Temperature is a physical quantity of a substance. Even we have seen about its unit. Unit of temperature is Kelvin and it is indicated by the symbol K. Now there are 3 important scales to measure this temperature. Okay, other than Kelvin, still we have 2 more scales to measure the temperature, but SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Other than that, still we have 2 more important scales to measure this temperature. The first scale is degree Celsius, indicated by degree C. Next scale to measure temperature is degree Fahrenheit, indicated by degree capital F, and another scale to measure the temperature is Kelvin. So these 3 are the 3 important scales to measure about the temperature of a substance: degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Now we will see the relationship between degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit. Next, degree Celsius to Kelvin. So first, degree Celsius, relationship between degree Fahrenheit and degree Celsius. Degree Fahrenheit is always equals to 9/5 degree Celsius plus 32. 9/5 degree Celsius plus 32. So that is the relationship between degree Fahrenheit and degree Celsius. Next, relationship between degree Celsius and Kelvin. A Kelvin is always, 1 Kelvin is always equals to degree Celsius plus 273. 1 Kelvin is always equals to degree Celsius plus 273. If you know the temperature in degree Celsius, we can easily convert into Kelvin by using this formula. If you know degree Celsius of a substance in the degree Celsius of temperature of a substance, it can be easily converted into Fahrenheit, because 1 degree Fahrenheit is equals to this much amount of degree Celsius. Okay, now we'll see. Even this is important for 2 mark question. Okay, very important for 2 marks. Relationship between degree Fahrenheit and degree Celsius, degree Celsius and Kelvin. Now we'll see how to convert degree Celsius to Fahrenheit. If a temperature is given in degree Celsius, it can be converted into degree Fahrenheit. If it is given in degree Fahrenheit, that can also be converted into degree Celsius by using this relationship. First we'll see how to convert degree Celsius into Fahrenheit. They have given a question, how to convert 37 degrees Celsius to degree Fahrenheit. So we are using the first relationship, because here we want to convert degree Celsius into degree Fahrenheit. This is the relationship. What I have taken here, 1 degree Fahrenheit is equals to 9/5 degree Celsius plus 32. Okay, this is the formula. In place of degree Celsius, we will substitute its value. What is the value of degree Celsius is given here? 37. You just substitute. Degree Fahrenheit is equals to 9/5 into 37 plus 32. Okay, so after calculating all this value, you will get finally 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So this is about the 37 degrees Celsius in degree Fahrenheit. In the same manner, if you see here, they have given the temperature in degree Fahrenheit. You want to convert it into degree Celsius. You want to convert it into degree Celsius. What is the temperature is given? 100 degree Fahrenheit. So in place of degree Fahrenheit, we will take 100, which is equals to 9/5 degree Celsius plus 32. What we want to convert this degree Fahrenheit, we want to convert into degree Celsius. Take this total term to this side. Then 9/5 degree Celsius is equals to 100. When this comes this side, 100 minus 32, it becomes 100 minus 32. 100 minus 32 value is 68. 9 by 5 degrees Celsius equals to 68. What we want to find out? Only degree Celsius. So we are moving this 9 by 5 to this side. Then degree Celsius equals to 68 into 5 by 9. It becomes reverse when it comes this side. Okay, 9 by 5 becomes 5 by 9. So after multiplying all this, finally you will get the value in degree Celsius, that is 37.777 degree Celsius. So this is about the conversion of 100 degree Fahrenheit into degree Celsius. Okay, and here is two more questions. So now it is related to the terms between degree Celsius and Kelvin. As we know the relationship between degree Celsius and Kelvin, 1 Kelvin is always equals to degree Celsius plus 273. If the temperature is given in degree Celsius, we can easily convert into Kelvin by using this formula. Here I am taking here they have given a question related to degree Celsius. Convert 27 degrees Celsius into Kelvins. Convert 27 degrees Celsius into Kelvin. So Kelvin equals to degree Celsius plus 273. In place of degree Celsius, take its value. K equals to 27 plus 273. So this is equals to 300. Okay, 1 Kelvin is now equals to 300. Understand? 27 degrees Celsius is equals to 300 kelvins. Now convert 373 kelvins into degree Celsius. 373 kelvins into degree Celsius. So see the question carefully. Here the temperature is given in kelvins. This value is given. We want to find out degree Celsius. Okay, first write down kelvins in the place of K. That is 373, which is equals to degree Celsius plus 273. What we want to find out here? Degree Celsius. Take this term to this side. Then degree Celsius become equals to 373 minus 273. 373 minus 273. What is 373 minus 273? That is exactly equals to 100 degree Celsius. That means if the temperature is given in degree Celsius, you want to convert into Kelvin. If it is given in Kelvin, we can also convert it into degree Celsius. This is very much important for 2 marks. Okay, so there are totally 3 scales to measure temperature, that is degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit and Kelvin. The relationship between degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit is 1 degree Fahrenheit is always equals to 9 by 5 into degree Celsius plus 32. And there is a relationship between degree Celsius and Kelvin also. 1 Kelvin is always equals to degree Celsius plus 273. Okay, very important for 2 marks. Now our next important concept for 1 mark is scientific notation. First we want to know what is meant by this scientific notation. Scientific notation is an exponential notation. It is an exponential notation of writing 2 large and 2 small numbers in the form of n into 10 to the power of n. Okay, if any number is given in 2 large or 2 small, that can be is written in the form of exponential notation in the form of n into 10 to the power of n. In the form of n into 10 to the power of n, then that is called scientific notation. It is an exponential notation of writing 2 large and 2 small numbers in the form of n into 10 to the power of n. It's called exponential notation. Sorry, it's called scientific notation. Okay, whereas here n, whatever the power n is given, that is nothing but exponential. That is known as exponential. This exponential value may be in the plus or minus value, and capital N, whatever we have taken, that is a number which is ranging between 1 to 10, Okay, scientific notation is nothing but writing of a large number or small number in an exponential notation in the form of n into 10 to the power of n. Now here it is in exponential notation. Okay, that means a large number can be written like this or small number can also be written like this. That is called scientific notation. Here they have given few numbers. Okay, so express the numbers in the scientific notation. So they have given these numbers, we want to write them in scientific notations. So this is a too large number, we want to convert it into exponential notation or scientific notation. 232.508. Okay, we can also write it in the form of n into 10 to the power of n. In this form we want to convert. So what we want to do? We want to move this point either towards right side or towards the left side. Okay, so if you move it into left side, then only we will get in this form, exponential notation form. So I am making this point to move 2 digits in left side. When it move 2 digits in left side, so the point will be present between 2 and 3. Then the value becomes 2.32508. How many digits we have made this point to move? 2 digits. So we want to multiply it with 10 to the power of 2. When it move it in left side, the value in the power will be in positive state. When the point moves in right side, the exponential will be in the negative sign. Remember, when the point moves in left side, the exponential number will be in the positive sign. If the same point moves in right side, the exponential number will be in the negative sign. I think you are clear about this. We'll solve the next more question. That is, second one is given 0.00016, 0.00016. It can also be write in this form, n into 10 to the power of n. See, the point is present here. When we make this point to move 1, 2, 3, 4 digits after 4 digits, that is exactly between 1 and 6. Then the value becomes 1.6. This value becomes 1.6. How many digits we made this point to move? 4 digits. That is on right, which side? Right side. I already told you, if the point moves in right side, this exponential number will be in negative sign. So it is moved in 4 digits. So 10 to the power of minus 4. 10 to the power of minus 4, because it is moved in right side. Now we want to write scientific notation for this number. That is, here it is present between 2 zeros. When we make this point to move after 4, that means how many digits? 1, 2, 3 digits. Then it becomes 4.8. How many digits we are making it to move? 3. Then 2, 10 to the power of 3. It is moving in right direction. So we will get minus. Exponential will be in the minus sign. Okay, next. 234,000. 234,000. There is no point. That means we can also write it in the form of 0.0. Right? Point is now here. When you make this point to move exactly towards left side, that is between 2 and 3. Between 2 and 3. Then the value becomes 2.34000. How many digits we made this point to move? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it becomes 10 to the power of 5, because it is moving in left direction. There is no negative sign, it is in positive sign. Like this we can write scientific notation. Scientific notation should be written only in the form of n into 10 to the power of n. This is in the form of n, this is 10 and 10 to the power of n. Even here, n value 10 to the power of n. N value 10 to the power of n. N value 10 to the power of n. This n value should range between 1 to 10. It should range between only 1 to 10. Like this, you just try to solve these 3 questions. This is homework for you. So try to solve or try to convert these notations into scientific notations. Okay, and send the answers to me. Now another important concept is about significant figures. So when we can use significant figures? What are significant figures? First we want to know that. See, significant figures can be applicable especially for the zeros where they are present. Okay, sometimes we can take that zeros also as significant figures. Before that, first thing we want to remember that all non-zero digits are significant. All non-zero digits are significant. Non-zero in the sense they are between 1 to 9. All numbers, okay, non-zero digits are considered as significant. That is first point. if suppose 0 is present, based on the place where it is located, we can consider them as significant or non-significant. First we'll see which zeros are considered as significant figures. Even this is important for 1 mark. Listen carefully. 0 preceding to first non-zero digit. 0 preceding to first non-zero digit is taken as significant. It is considered as significant. In the sense, the 0 which comes after the non-zero, the 0 which comes after the non-zero, that is considered as a significant figure. 0 if it present, for example 10, the 0 preceding the non-zero digit. This is non-zero digit. 0 which precedes non-zero digit is considered as a significant figure. As we know, this is a significant because it is non-zero digit, and this is a preceding non-zero digit, so we have to consider it as a significant figure. Okay, next, 0 between non-zero digits. Zeros between non-zero, 0 which is present between two non-zero digits. Example 202. This is non-zero digit, this is non-zero digit. Now this 0 is present between two non-zero digits, so we want to consider it as a significant figure. Okay, next, zeros at the end are right of a number. Zeros at the end are right of a number. If 0 is present extremely at the right or end of that number which is preceded by the decimal, that has to be considered as a significant figure. That has to be considered as a significant figure. So these are the 4 important rules you want to remember while finding a significant figure. All non-zero digits are significant, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are said to be significant figure. 0 which is present after non-zero digit, that is a significant figure. 0 present between the two non-zero digits, that is a significant figure. 0 at the end or at the right corner is considered as a significant figure. Now we want to find out number of significant figure in the given numbers. Number of significant figures. Okay, see, this 0 is present on left side. What I have told you, 0 which is present on right number is considered as the significant figure, but these 3 zeros present on the left side of a number, this is left side of a number, so these are non-significant. Now what are these two? These two are non-zero digits. These two non-zero digits becomes the significant figure. So total number of significant figures are 2. There are 2 significant figures here. Now see this number. Now here it has non-zero digits and 0 digits. A 0 which is present to non-zero digits is considered as a significant figure. These 2 are significant and it is also significant. Totally significant figures here are 3. Now here, these 2 zeros present between 2 non-zero digits. These 2 are present between 2 non-zero digits. So all the 4 considered as the significant figures. And see this is homework for you. And this is, so this 0 is present extremely at the right side. So right of a number or 0 at the end, this is end, is considered as a significant figure. Now these 3 are significant figure and it is a non-zero digit considered as a significant figure. Totally it has 4 significant figures. Like this, find out total number of significant figures present in 6th one and 4th one. These 2 are the homework for you. Okay, this is about today's class. I'll continue this topic in next class. Thank you.